first comprehensive cancer center in our region, and it'll be located here in El Paso. They'll break ground on the Fox Cancer Center on Wednesday, and it's being built by Texas Tech Health El Paso in conjunction with UMC. Texas Tech Health El Paso says the cancer center has an estimated cost of $340 million. Of that amount, $260 million was secured through legislative funding. And joining us now is State Representative Mary Gonzalez. Representative Gonzalez, thank you so much for taking the time and being with us here today. This is the region's first comprehensive cancer center, and you really championed this effort to bring it to El Paso. What more can you tell us in terms of how this center is going to operate and how it'll serve not just El Paso, but the greater El Paso area as well?
Thank you, Andy, for the question. It is truly an exciting moment in El Paso, the fact that we're going to ground break on the Cancer Center. You know, when I heard the stories of people in our community having to travel to Arizona or Houston, or some not even being able to afford the travel to get the health care that they need, it was truly disturbing. So I was happy to work in my position as Vice Chair of Appropriations with Representative Joe Moody and Senator Blanco to make sure that we were able to bring this cancer center to our community. I'll be honest, though, I couldn't have done this without UMC. UMC was the originators of this dream, and I just want to give them all the credit in the world.
And how did you convince the state to bring a cancer center to El Paso? The state clearly sees the benefit in having this here. Kind of take us inside those conversations, if you will, and how this all really came to be.
I think a lot of people in the state didn't know that El Paso people had to travel over hundreds of miles to get the treatment that they needed. I think once we were able to create that awareness, it seemed pretty much common sense that we had to do something to make sure we got the cancer center here in El Paso. I'm super fortunate that the conversations with my colleagues were very helpful, and they were very eager to make sure that we were taking care of this community.
Certainly going to be beneficial for all El Pasoans who, like you said, don't have to travel hundreds of miles away just to receive care. Now, you also played a role this special session in the elimination of the STAR exam, although the passage of HB 8 wasn't exactly how you envisioned it. HB 8, of course, eliminates the STAR exam and replaces it with other standardized tests that are spread out across the school year. But where did this piece of legislation, in your opinion, where did it fall short?
That's a great question. As an educator, I am very firmly believe that we should support public education, our students and our teachers. Unfortunately, we know that the accountability and assessment system we have in Texas isn't hitting the mark. In fact, it's making some really big generalizations about our communities and our students. We did pass HB 8, which was labeled the STAR replacement bill, and it is getting rid of the STAR in a few years, 3 years from now. But I didn't vote for the bill, and I want to be really transparent with that, because the bill expands testing. It creates more tests, more time in the classroom doing more tests, and there were lots of questions about how we would be able to use this in the overall accountability system.
And throughout the process in introducing HB 8, did we hear enough, in your opinion, again, did we hear enough from educators on what good testing conditions look like and how they should be implemented when it comes to standardized testing? They can be stressful not only for students, but for educators as well here.
I think that's part of my concern about the passage of this bill, is that it really left a lot of voices out of the conversation. Parents, teachers, superintendents. I feel that this accountability and assessment issue is a very big issue. And instead, we really fast-tracked it into 1 week of conversation without very much real in-depth input. And so, yes, I'm very concerned that there are not only limited voices at the table, but a lot of misinformation about what this bill actually did. I will say there is one benefit, that the tests or the changes don't come into play immediately. So luckily, we still have next legislative session to address some of the concerns as we go into the details of this piece of legislation.
And lastly, Representative Gonzalez, these last two special sessions, they were full of surprises. We saw, of course, the quorum break that ended the first special session in an effort to block redistricting from happening, which ultimately did happen in that second special session. How would you characterize everything that took place in the laws that were ultimately passed these past two, really just the last special session?
You know, special sessions are really difficult because there are so many ways in which the public can be involved in a regular session that is really denied in a special session. And so I was really concerned that instead of acting quickly on the flood relief that the people in Kerrville needed, we went through a special session and it got politicized through redistricting and other awful pieces of legislation. I guess if I had to sum it up, I would have said these special sessions were unnecessary. Do we need to make sure we're taking care of flooding victims and flood relief? Always. Could that have been done without a special session? Yes. Did the other pieces of the special sessions really help Texans? Not really. All of that could have been done in the regular or the next legislative session.
Representative Gonzalez, thank you so much for your time with us here today. We certainly appreciate your insight on the program.
Of course, I'm hoping to see you tomorrow, Wednesday at the cancer groundbreaking.
Awesome. Thank you, Representative Gonzalez.